Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Okay, I'm a little late, 16 minutes late, but that's okay. That was planned because I wanted to see what the 6 o'clock news was talking about. 6 a.m. news, and you can see the daylight is coming into play here. I was looking at that, and then I figured I'd set this up. We have Canadian Club introduced in 1858. Now, this is the discontinued 6-year age Canadian Club, okay? If you get the new one, there's no age statement on it. But if you look on the Canadian Club website, it says it's age 5 years. So they dropped it. For the longest time, decades and decades, it was age 6 years. And then they, for whatever reason, dropped it to 5. Did it make a big difference? I can't really say because I never did a blind taste test age 6 to 5 year age. I mean, I could do that because I have access to, obviously, I have a lot of this left, and I have access to the 5-year age because that's what's on the market. But I probably won't do it. I didn't notice that it was greatly different, and that's probably, and I'm assuming that probably what has something to do with it. Like they tested and found out that the flavor wasn't different too much, so why not shorten it? I don't know. I don't know the internal operations of Beam-Suntory, that liquor conglomerate. And we have, oh, I'm just pouring it. I'm not even telling you what's up. Premium Canadian Leaf. No age statement. Canadian whiskey with natural flavors of some sort. Can't say what they are because I don't know. I do know that it was introduced in 1961, and it says it's bottled in Baltimore, Maryland. It's actually about a mile outside the city limits, maybe less than a mile, but it is in Baltimore County, Maryland, but not technically in the city of Baltimore. At Majestic Distilling. But they say on here Oak Park Distilling, but that's just one of those alias names for Majestic. Okay, Canadian Club. Now, one interesting thing about these two, and this is a common practice actually, they're both distilled and blended in Canada, right? Okay. And Canadian Club whiskey is actually, this brand is not the same recipe. They say on the website it's not the original recipe, but it's quite similar. Okay. This brand of whiskey used to be Hiram Walker's Canadian Club. You know, Hiram Walker is a company that got bought out, like so many, like Seagram's, got dispersed. But this is older than the country of Canada, right? Canada was founded in 1867. July 1st, 1867, and this was introduced in 1858. So this whiskey is older than the country it comes from, but it's distilled and blended in Canada, and Canadian Leaf is distilled and blended in Canada, but both of these are bottled in the United States. Maryland for Canadian Leaf and Deerfield, Illinois for Canadian Club. And then I don't know if Canadian Leaf is even sold in Canada, but Canadian Club is exported back to Canada, believe it or not. It's a strange thing, isn't it? Frederick Byron says, morning from Miami. Good morning, Frederick. Athletic Soldier says, hey, Ron, I'm drunk off 4 Loko. What your take on that? My take on that would be that that is a very bad idea. I would avoid 4 Loko, honestly. Not to mention avoid getting drunk. Really, to me, it's a bad practice. I see a lot of bad habit. Not to say we don't all have bad habits, but that the alcohol abuse is a really bad habit, and not to mention drugs and oh well. But people got to do what people got to do, or I should say, people have a right to do what they want to do. I don't necessarily support it. Okay, well, let's go with these. I got a bit more Canadian Club in there. I'm trying to be real stingy on the leaf because I don't have much to start with, and if I pour too much, I won't make it through all the bottles of Canadian whiskey I have. I know I won't make it. It's not going to make it. I've already got 40% of the bottle used, so I'll just be able to do a few challenges with it and see how it works out. They're both golden amber. It was in some ways similar to Albertson's Canadian whiskey, but they were very easily discernible. Like the Canadian leaf did not taste like the Albertsons. I mean, if you watch that hangout, I guessed it on aroma only. Now the Albertsons Kentucky whiskey, blended whiskey, excuse me, the Albertsons American blended whiskey, you know, in the brown and gold bottle, the clear bottle with the brown and gold label. I got that very confused with other American blended whiskeys. I couldn't tell them apart, even with the Seagram 7. So I got that mixed up. So my only conclusion, and yes, I will take into account that maybe I'm not good at doing this. I mean, that's a factor. It has to be considered. But I really think that the actual reality of it is that the American blended whiskeys are so similar one to another that they're easily confused. You can really get them mixed up. And there's something about pouring them in a glass and then they breathe for a little bit that changes things. So it's very tricky. Which leads us to the next point, being that if they're that similar to one to another and the quality isn't really that different, why would you pay more one for the other? You know what I'm saying? Like if I was going to buy blended whiskey, and I do buy that mainly for review purposes, well, I'm going to only buy it for price. You understand? Price would be the only consideration. Why would I pay extra for something that's essentially the same? I mean, there's no sense to it. Canadian whiskey, different story. I've noticed there's various levels. Bourbon, yeah, from what I've tried, there's various levels. I wouldn't say that they're tremendously different though. And I've tried some really high quality bourbons, and even those, well, I better watch what I say because people might say bad things. Hey Ron, so how's your you're up late? How's your I don't understand what you're writing. I'm not up late. I did stay up later than normal and I couldn't get to sleep. But I had worked at bingo last night and then I was doing a hangout with some other beer reviewers. And that kind of like got me awake, you know what I'm saying? I was trying Google Chrome again and it didn't work. My audio kept failing. So I was kind of like a test. It was off air anyway. It didn't matter. I know it was irritating to them, but I just should have gone in through Microsoft Edge, but that's okay. And then I got up around 4:10 this morning. I woke up at 4:10. So have you tried Old Grandad? Yes, I've done solo reviews of Old Grandad, the 80 proof, and I've done Old Grandad bonded, the 100 proof, the green, you know, with the green tag. Most of your bonded whiskeys, you'll notice, have that green thing because that's that comes from the old requirement up until 1983 that they had to have a green tag, actually. They're both very good, and I did taste challenges with them. Love me some bourbon, says Reaper Actual. I'm glad you like it. I don't really like bourbon. And I've tried many. I just don't. I don't hate it. And I can't say I actually dislike it. But I don't particularly like it. Okay, there's other types of whiskeys that I definitely prefer over bourbon. I don't think bourbon is as great as people think it is. It's my opinion, you know. Same thing with beer. I'll say, I think this about a certain beer, you think that. But the thing that gets me, I don't understand people getting so enraged about beer. It's like, why would you get angry? I mean, I can understand you disagree, but why would you literally become angry about a beverage? But everybody's different. I mean, I might get angry about a war, one country, or let's say 3 countries attacking another country, that I might get angry about, you know, because that's an important thing. Lives are at stake, and property, and international relations. But beverages, nah, I don't think I'm gonna get angry about that. Ronald, will you review Sierra Nevada? I've reviewed it countless times. Okay. Okay, on with this taste challenge. Oh, yeah. It's got that distinctive Canadian whiskey thing, which is like a, it's hard to describe if you've never had it. It's almost like a candy, cotton candy. It's a strange, I know that company Necco went out of business, NECCO, with that kind of like powdery wafer candies that I had bought in the past. And everybody's bemoaning it, you know, oh, I can't believe it went out of business. I got to go run to Dollar Tree and get some. But it has some of that kind of confectionery sugar. Yeah, okay. Or something. I don't know how to properly describe Canadian whiskey, but it has that. And then somebody put that in my head. They say plum wine, and then that's got me thinking plum wine. I've never actually had the Fouquet, whatever it's called, plum wine, but I've had enough plums. Okay, so that's interesting. Very pleasant aroma. I like it. No complaints over there. The Canadian Club was $5.99 for this bottle, and the Canadian Leaf was, I think, $1.99 for that good deal smaller bottle. Okay, over here. Oh, not the same, not the same, not the same, not the same. Okay. This one is much more pungent, musty. I can't put, like I say, I don't know how to describe these. It's got a, almost like a chewing wax, beeswax, honey, whatever it is. That one's got to be the flavored, okay? This one must be the Canadian Club. It's more of a nectar over here. Nectar, honey, like honeycomb cereal. Well, okay. And this is bringing me to the gripe against bourbon now, which will probably make 10 enemies for every one friend I'll make saying that. I don't like when people drink something ironically, like drink a PBR just for attention. I hate that too. They make videos and they call it a review. And then they'll start off with, I'm going to review this Pabst Blue Ribbon because I want to do this review of this trash beer. Well, that's not a review. They're just trying to get cheap laughs and views or something. And then they'll talk about, I don't like it. I always avoid it. But why are you even reviewing it? You already hate it, obviously, to start with. Or just call it what it is. Say this is a slam video or an attack video. That I'll go along with. It's an attack. I mean, I probably won't watch it, but because it'd just be boring to me. But don't do a slam video or an attack video and call it a review. It is not a review. If you can't approach it open-mindedly and in a fair and balanced way, then don't approach it at all. And then I had a little misunderstanding with Greenleaf, and that was my fault actually, because I was doing the video for the atrocious Rockdale Ice, right? Terrible, horrible stuff. I gave it a D. D plus though. Okay. And I was saying, and I wasn't like clear. See, if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. You know what I mean? I'm not too proud to admit if I'm wrong. Pride comes before a fall, right? But what I meant to say was, I don't like the way people make videos about natural ice, for instance. They'll make a slam video, but they're not willing to give it a fair assessment. That's what I meant to say. But I could see by rewatching it how it could be taken as, and I said they're just content to be a jerk because they're not going to give it a fair assessment. But I could see how he might have interpreted it as me saying people in general who don't want to give natural ice a fair assessment are content to be a jerk. And he said, well, I don't like that. I have no interest in the beer. I don't want to deal with it at all. So why does that make me a jerk? Because I don't want to address it. And I had to say, and me and Greenleaf have a history of going back and forth and a lot of acrimony and stuff, you know, but I said I can see how he could interpret that wrong. So I said, I'm sorry, I was sort of unclear in what I was saying. I said, not that no one is a jerk if they choose not to address any beer, right? I mean, you don't have to address a beer if you don't want to. That doesn't make you a jerk. I said the people that want to do a so-called review of it, but they're not going to give it a fair assessment. That's what I'm talking about. I actually like PBR. I don't know why people hate it so much. I don't either. It's great on draft, especially. Me too, says Frederick. It's fine for what it is, especially considering the price. Natty Ice is a good budget beer, and one of my go-to beers in my fridge, says Reaper Actual. What's your opinion on Islay whiskey, says Kiko79. Well, hello, Kiko, and thanks for watching. I've never had anything like that. So my opinion is I probably would like it, but I can't remark to it because I've never had it. Let's go on with the taste. Well, this one here is very spiced, and it's a pleasant, sweet, and spicy rye flavor. And see, that's my complaint about bourbon. It's like I'm drinking grits. And I've eaten enough. I know it's white hominy grits that you eat with breakfast, Quaker white hominy grits, or maybe Surefine brand. And I know that the whiskey's made with yellow corn grits. Okay, yellow corn's different from white corn. I'm aware of that. But it still has that corn grit taste, and it just drives me away, you know? Like Lou Reed said, New Wave French movies, they just drive me away. And I may not be dumb, but I know I ain't smart, because deep down inside, I got a rock and roll heart, right? Deep down inside, I've got a rock and roll heart, a rock and roll heart. Okay, but and I am like Lou Reed in the sense that I don't like opera and I don't like ballet. In New Wave French movies, they just drive me away. That's all true. I do have that in common with him. But this thing does not have that corn grits application that just is so off-putting to me. This one is sweet candy, confectionery candy, and the spicy, a very spicy rye note. So it's vibrant, and it has a lot of vibrancy, you know, and it's sweet, and you wouldn't need to mix it. There's no, I would say, why would I mix this? It's almost like it's its own mixed drink. It's got the sweetness, the sugariness. It's almost like it's like a prepackaged sirens. It's almost like a prepackaged old fashioned. Now you say that's bizarre. You've gone mad. No Canadian whiskey is going to taste like a prepackaged old fashioned. Well, I don't know, but it does. You know, I don't know, but I've been told that in the heat of the day, a man died of cold. I love the oaky, smoky flavor of a bourbon. I like oak. Okay. Charred oak, because it's kind of like barbecue, right? You like the charcoal and the barbecue and all that, and the smokiness. Okay, that is good. I like that aspect of the bourbon. It's the corn grits thing that just drives me away. Okay, it drives me mad. John and Neely says good morning, Ryan. Hey, good morning, John and Neely. Sorry about my audio last night. Kept bugging out. I was testing out Google Chrome. It had an update, but it didn't do any good. It didn't work. I think my computer was damaged actually from some crash back in 2017. I think that can be fixed if I bring back Shockwave, but I don't want Shockwave because it always crashes, gets corrupted. And I can watch the baseball highlights and NFL highlights and NBA highlights in high definition without Shockwave. And I run across well, actually, I never run across any technical problems. Never. Maybe once every 100 play. And when I had Shockwave installed, it was endless problems. So that has to be the root of the problem. It's every time. Now, I had a good computer before this one in 2015, but the lightning struck, and the static, it wasn't a lightning strike on the wires. The static in the air made it break, and a television. True story. The static was so heavy that a man next door to me was fooling with a aluminum electrical box, and an arc of electricity went from his hand into the box. That's how heavy the static was in the air. So that's, you'd be surprised how much static can damage things. Well, on with the taste. Okay. So I'm not going back to Shockwave. I'm not going back to Cali. Okay, this here is demonstrably different from that there. And I'll tell you what, yes, it has the rye spice, certainly. It has the confectionery sugar. It has all these characters. Now, the mouthfeel for these are both a medium, and they have a moderate finish. They don't linger too long and make you ill, and they don't drop right off, and they're dull as dishwater. I did have some Canadian Mist last night, and I think I would be fair to reassess it. When I was at Bingo last night, I had about 1.5 ounces of Canadian Mist just because I wanted to revisit it. And I said, you know, maybe I was a little too harsh on it. It is dull, but that's by design. So I might have overplayed my criticism of Canadian Mist. It is a historic brand. It's been on the market 51 years, and it's loved by many. And so I don't know. I got to think about that. I'm not going to think a lot about it. You know what I mean? I'm going to think about it a little bit. Okay. Oh, what's the main point here? Which one tastes better? Well, the Canadian Club 6-year age is mighty fine. It has a delightful, sweet candy flavor. Now, I don't know about you, but you say whiskey doesn't taste like candy. Well, it tastes like candy to me, okay? And I can only drink for myself, right? To me, it tastes like a sweet candied liqueur drink. I know it's pure whiskey, right? But that's what it tastes like. So it's wonderful. Yeah, I got a lot of bourbon to drink down, okay? And I'm not going to hate it. But you know, I'm not going to love it. I'm really not going to love it. This one, oh, what is it that makes it different? It's almost like a smokiness, but that's not right. That isn't right. It's a somethingness. And John and Neely, I wish I could bring you these if I ever go to Georgia, you know what I mean? This Canadian Leaf, but I can't get it. I've had Canadian Club before. Not really my cup of tea, says Reaper Actual. But then again, I tried it long before I was into whiskey. You see, that can make a big difference. Someone asked me last night about Sazerac. Have I ever had Sazerac rye? I said, have I had it? That was the first whiskey I ever had, I believe. I drank a whole bottle. Oh, it was wonderful. Oh, Sazerac rye. Okay. It's a tie in flavor. Let me be honest. Neither one is better than the other. So which one would I prefer? If I had a choice, I would prefer both. Okay. So that's a wash. Now, which one is which? Now, that one will shake me up a little bit if I get it wrong, but I'm almost convinced that I have to be convinced. This has got to be Canadian Club. Let's go and check it out. I mean, you know, hey. Yeah, CC6. I put that on the tag, Canadian Club 6-year. And CL, Canadian Leaf. Okay, I got them right. They are distinctive. And I have a lot easier time, as we can see from video evidence, I have a lot easier time discerning one Canadian whiskey from another, at least so far. The only problem I have is that I'm always geared up to try. I'm restless, you know. I want to try everything at once. Like, I want to do this taste challenge, and then I want to do another taste challenge immediately after, and I want to do another taste challenge immediately after. But would it be a good idea to drink endless amounts of whiskey all day long to do taste challenges? I don't think it would be, and I think it would become very ragged, and it would be stupid and idiotic. It would be fun, but sometimes you got to, let's say, ration your fun, right? You want to have a control on these exuberances. Okay, so here's the schedule. Oh, John and Neely says, the Canadian Club is one of my favorite Canadian whiskeys. I really love the 9 and 12-year expressions. Oh, I mean, I've never had those, but I'm sure I would just be raving and ranting about how fabulous they are, right? You know what I mean? I would just be going on and on endlessly about how wonderful they are. You could do it as long as you had the next day off because you'd have a heck of a hangover. That's correct. And I don't want a hangover. And I think patience is a virtue, and I want to be virtuous. You know what I mean? So, all right. Just, I don't know about you, and I can't answer for you. You know what I mean? I just think Canadian Club, I love the 5-year. The current one is great to me. And I think the 6-year is just maybe a little bit greater. I think it's a fantastic whiskey. Oh, and by the way, the WHISKY without the E, that's the Canadian way and the Scottish way of spelling it. You know what? It's also the United States government's way of spelling it. If you read the Tax and Trade Bureau website, which, man, I could get on there. That's like going to a fun house, honestly. I mean, I love looking at that website. Now, some people might say, why would you love looking at pages and pages of text of U.S. government regulations? It's just fascinating, all the rules and everything. They spell it without an E also. According to the U.S. government, whiskey is spelled without an E. But that's not a rule anyway. It's just an option of how you want to spell it. So, true story. And Canadian Leaf. Let's look at this one more time. It almost has like a yellow tobacco flavor too, like Levi Garrett. It's great. I mean, this, you think, oh, you're crazy. You've gone mad. You can get a bottle for $6.99, the regular glass bottle. And you're going to say it's a great whiskey and people should go run out and buy it. Yes, I'm going to stand by that. If I saw, and I can guarantee you this is a truism, a truism, right? The truth. If I saw a glass bottle of Canadian Leaf, 750 milliliter for $6.99, I would buy that so fast you would not believe. I'd be like, here's the money, give it to me. It's that good. It's about as obscure as anything you ever wanted to see now. Yeah. It's an outlier, you know what I mean? It's like on the fringes. It's kind of like Speckled Tail American whiskey. It's on the fringes, but it's good. I mean, I'd rather drink the Canadian Leaf because I don't really like the bourbons. We went through all that, but I would say Canadian Leaf gives Canadian Club a run for their money. They're not the same flavor. I could tell them apart in aroma only. You could see that. That quick, I knew them. Now, what's coming up tomorrow morning? Well, my intention is to do Canadian Leaf against, Seagram's VO. Now, Seagram's VO is a different animal. That's an odd item. All right, it's kind of like a Canadian whiskey that tastes like American whiskey in some ways. It doesn't have these sweet confectionery sugar flavors that these have, to my knowledge. And my complaint with Seagram's VO is that it was kind of dull, tasteless. Oh, well, you know what? Go to Winn-Dixie or Walmart, and you would think Seagram's VO is like the most popular whiskey in the world because it is so popular in Louisiana. I don't know about your state. It's like that's the main thing. You go in Winn-Dixie, it's like, VO, we have a big sale. They always have a big sale. Look, and people just buy it. Oh, I'm buying VO. I'm buying Seagram 7. It's like, I think in Louisiana, the most popular whiskeys must be Jack Daniels, Evan Williams, Seagram's VO, and Seagram 7. And I am not being silly or making a joke or clowning around. I mean, just, you can tell what's popular when you go to a store, and that's everywhere, right? Tito's vodka, everywhere, right? Okay. Seagram's gin. I mean, Seagram's gin. Let's face the facts. Seagram's gin is everywhere. Oh, one more thing. Somebody was telling me yesterday. He went to Mathern's Thursday. I didn't go there Thursday. And there was a lady from one of these ad agencies, and she was given a tasting of Christian Brothers peach brandy. I said, Christian Brothers Peach Brandy, what a thing to give a taste test for. And all the customers were trying it. Oh, yeah. And then some guy that works for Mathern's told me, I tried some and oh, it was really good. It was so good. You know, just a little 2 ounces. I said, you liked it, huh? Oh, man, that stuff was so good. And then they were talking about it. Well, I never had it. I've had the Christian Brothers Brandy, of course, and the VSOP and the Sacred Bond, and those are just fabulous. Oh, retraction. It was not a person that works for Mathern's. It was a guy that goes there all the time, Mr. Bruce. He buys so much bourbon. He's the one that tried it, and he said he liked it. And I'll tell you, you better try that Sacred Bond. You know, that's who it was. It wasn't an employee. John says, the Seagram's VO was good, but I agree that it's dull. The VO Gold was quite delightful, though. Oh, yeah, that's much more flavorful. The Canadian Leaf versus VO Gold will be interesting. Yes, I agree, and I'm planning to do that Tuesday morning. I'm looking at my calendar, try to get this in my head. I'm planning to do that Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. for Dawnbusters. Then I have to do the double, you know, the piggyback, you know, the Camelback, because the weekend coming up, the next weekend isn't going to be good. It's not going to be good for Taste Challenges, Dawnbusters. So I'm planning to do, well, maybe Sunday would be, but I'm planning to do the VO Gold versus Canadian Leaf on Tuesday. Then Tuesday in the evening, I'm planning to do another blended whiskey with a bunch of stuff. The Club Royale. I'm planning to do Club Royale, which is it aged at least 4 years. I'm planning to do Club Royale versus everything. You know what I mean? Club Royale versus Albertsons and Carstairs White Seal and Club 400 and Seagram 7 and Ancient Age Preferred. You know what I mean? The whole thing until I run out of the bottle. I'm just going to exhaust. I'm going to do the same thing. Well, Canadian Leaf, same thing. I'm going to do it until I exhaust the bottle. Why not? Like, what the heck? You know, why not? It's fun. So it's interesting and it's learning. It's actually educational to try to get a handle on the flavors. And I think I'm learning. Okay, well, this was one of the more enjoyable taste challenges because it's 2 delightful products. And it's not like I'm drinking my breakfast. In other words, it's not like I'm drinking my grits. Okay, anyway. All right. Well, thanks for watching this video production. And everybody have a great Saturday. And tomorrow we'll try to do another one. You take, or as my friend Stuart Pickard would say, you take care.